Hi, I'm Natalie Jill, fat loss expert turned high performance coach. When odds are stacked against us, how do we shift and create everything from nothing? How do we level up when we aren't feeling it yet or we've had a big setback? On this podcast, I'll be talking to some of the most inspiring and courageous men and women on this planet who at their worst learned how to achieve success greater than they ever dreamed possible, leveling up and creating everything from nothing. About 2 years ago, I really got hit hard with the idea of aging. I'm 48 now. I was 46 at the time. And I was very aware of the mainstream thoughts on aging. And I was so into my nutrition and my fitness and what I thought I knew that I really didn't think it would impact me. That's just my arrogant thoughts around it. And it started to hit me head on, a lot of things. I had ruptured a disc in my lower back. I was injured, and it was something that came out of what I thought was nowhere. I started to have some changes in the way that I looked, as we all do when we age, but it just kind of hit me out of nowhere. And some of you listening can relate to that when you look in the mirror and all of a sudden you see something staring back at you that you're like, when did I start looking like my mom? But I remember that hitting me. And I also remember the list of maintenance starting to just creep up, like, okay, the hair appointments are getting longer and the things to take care of myself, that list is growing. And then I put that on top of just this never ending to-do list for business, for life, and the stress that goes with that. And also the number, knowing, okay, I'm going to be in my later 40s here. I'm approaching midlife. And is this all there is? And I started really questioning that. And I started questioning if I wanted to still just be teaching people fitness and nutrition. I thought, is that really the answer? Is that really the answer? Just the right workouts, the right nutrition for people? And it just wasn't sitting right with me. I thought, there's just so much more. And I want the second half of my life to be the best half of my life. So an idea was born, and my book, Aging in Reverse, came from that. But a bigger message was coming through for me around this. And I had the good fortune of meeting my dear friend now, Allyson Byrd, sort of by accident. She came into my life as a friend. And as she got to know my vision more and I shared my truths and what I was walking for, the idea of an Aging in Reverse community was born. And Allyson is the executive producer and my partner in this, behind the scenes with this. And she's just been instrumental in my life and huge. So I thought, as I'm getting a lot of questions, especially based on Friday's solo episode I did about why I'm leveling up again and creating a new community, Aging in Reverse, why I'm doing that, why I feel called to that, I thought, who better to interview me than the one and only Allyson Byrd. So today, join in and learn exactly how I leveled up and how I've been walking through the aging process and how I have formed and am creating and jumping head first, feet first, whole body into this new Aging in Reverse community. And I want you to hear what she asked me here. Enjoy.
Oh my gosh, Natalie Jill, I'm so excited that we're doing this together. This is making me so happy right now.
I love you as my friend and I love you working with me. I'm a little nervous, I gotta be honest, about you interviewing me. because I know how good you are at storytelling and being on point with messaging. And then I get in my head.
Well, you're not allowed to do that. Let's just have a great time. And
Awesome.
I mean, we have coffee together, our gluten-free toast. You make me the best eggs, the best, what is that? Like a nitrate-free sausage you make me with like yummy. Avocado Turkey and my grapefruit.
Sausage. Yes, but today I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking, vanilla tea. And it's really good.
Vanilla tea. Okay, well, let's pretend we're having that and sitting across your counter. And let's talk about Aging in Reverse, because you've created this new community and it's exclusive to women in their 40s, their 50s, beyond. Why? Why this community and why now?
It's so funny because most things in my life start from my own problem that I figured out and overcame. So like thinking back to when I originally started a fitness business, I never had the intention to start a fitness business. What happened was I was going through my own personal transformation turned my life around through fitness and good nutrition and how I changed my mindset. And people asked me what I was doing, and I provided a solution for them. So my Natalie Jill Fitness was born. Fast forward to now, 10 years later, at 48 years old, having been through a lot of things, really facing the aging head on, and not somebody that is wanting to accept just, oh, let's just age gracefully and be okay with that. It's something I've been diving into personally. Like, how do I navigate through this at 48 years old? And everything I've learned and experienced and I'm walking through, there's a lot of women that are walking through and experiencing the same and want some guidance on it.
One of the things that I think is that people don't consider aging until they are of the age, right? And so, I'm 42 years old. I remember in my 30s, I didn't think about aging, but something clicked for me once I hit 40. I felt like I was aging. I felt like my friends talked about aging. I felt like I heard my bones more. You know what I mean? I felt a little bit slower in my movement. I remember grabbing my great niece's wrist and to start skipping. And I realized my liftoff was different. And I was like, wait a minute.
What's happening?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah.
And so what is the issue with aging? Is it our health? Is it our beauty? Is it our bodies? Where does the issue begin?
So it could be slightly different for different people, but I will say overall, it's a change of identity. We spend so much time. It starts in our junior high years, our preteens, and then a teenager, and then young adult, trying to figure out and become who we think we should be. That's where we are. Like, who should we be? And we get heavy into that. Judgment starts coming up from friends in school when you think about that. And we start really forming this, who do we want to be? And we spend so much time becoming that. And then, your 20s and your 30s are becoming that person. And then all of a sudden something shifts to me. I see with my friends, with myself around 40, especially, where you start realizing, I'm approaching midlife. Oh my gosh. And did I become all those things I set out to be? Am I the body I wanted? Am I looking the way that I wanted? Am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And it starts feeling like it's speeding up. So comparison starts really setting in, like against yourself, against other people. And I feel that that's when the shift starts, because we're leaving this area of, I spent all these years becoming, to now we are, and it hits us like, okay, is this it? Is this it? And what the things that we were relying on, the way that our bodies feel, the way that we looked, the way that our focus was, our energy, all those things that we were relying on starts to change. So now we're really left with that core of, who are we? Who am I?
So it's a conversation, if I hear you correctly, it's a conversation of identity in a big way. And so is that right?
I think it is. And when you are having those deep conversations, but you can rely on how your body feels or what you look like, it's a lot easier to handle. But when you're having those conversations internally, and then you look in the mirror and all of a sudden you see your mom, you're like, wait a minute, where'd that come from? Or things start looking a little different, or things like you just described start feeling a little bit different.
Yeah.
So it does start to mess with you, and you said that people don't really pay attention to it as much in their 20s and 30s. And the reason is because they're still feeling good. They're still looking good. All those things are still very prevalent and real for them. So it's a lot easier to put it off and think it doesn't happen to you.
So I have so many questions that are rushing through my head right now. So I'm going to try to pace myself, because I'm like, oh my God, I want to know all the things. My first thing that I want to jump into right now is this whole concept that you have of leveling up and aging in reverse. Like, you've got such a progressive dialogue. And I mean, you're almost 50 years old. That's a lot of fire you got going on. You're telling people, level up your life. You're telling people, age in reverse. I mean, what is it? Let's just put them together. What is it about aging in reverse that levels you up? Or is it leveling up means that you age in reverse? What's the connection? Yeah,
they really do go hand in hand. So if you think about, when I say aging in reverse, I don't necessarily mean make yourself 20 again. That's not possible. We're not going to be 20 again. So we're not truly like aging backwards that way. But if you think about, we spend our life, we go from being a kid with all these dreams, all these possibilities, all this ambition, anything's possible. The confidence is high to you're stepping into that. And now you're hit with the idea of judgment. You're hit with people pleasing. You're hit with to-do lists. You're hit with life. You're hit with all these things. You start slowing that down. So then we hit this midlife point and now we're feeling like it's too late. What's going on? And then you couple that with all the other things happening and we start accelerating aging. And now we're definitely not leveling up. We're at this like weird standstill. So when I say age in reverse, what if it went the other way? What if it was going back down towards that confidence level and freedom that a kid has? So it's going back towards that, because if we had that, if we had possibility again, if we had wonder, if we had confidence, if we had that feeling of freedom, then anything becomes possible again. And then you're setting yourself up for, okay, the second half of my life can actually be the better part of my life. It could be the best part because we do have more finances right now. We do have a better sex life right now. We do have kids that are more grown up at this point. We do start actually having more time and freedom. So what if we could take on some of those things that children have and step into that and start really leveling up our lives for the second half of our life?
Mm-hmm. So I've heard you teach a multitude of things. And of course, many of the listeners here have, read Aging in Reverse and they follow you on Instagram and like they're really invested into your message. And I think that if they're anything like me, they're always hearing your confidence. What is that crucial point for you where you weren't as confident as you sound in this moment right now, where, aging really kind of gut punched you and brought you to a moment of reality? Yeah.
So I literally have the word surrender tattooed on my arm right now, so I can remember that word, because that's a lot of the answer to this. So for when I started really noticing the aging, not just appearance, but how I was feeling, things going wrong. I had my back injury. I had a bunch of things happen to me where I was starting to notice that, your eyesight changes. My gosh, I didn't even bring up that. Like you start needing reading glasses, like things are changing. So
all the things.
So my first reaction is like, control it all, fix it all. Like, I'm going to fix it all. Like better makeup, better lighting, better hair color, better hair person, eyelash extensions, whiten the teeth, you start going down the list. Like, how do I fix everything? How do I fix everything? And then, you joke with your friends that, oh my gosh, this maintenance list is growing. Like this, the beauty appointments, the doctor appointments, the mechanical repairs. It's just the list starts growing and you start trying to control it all. And when you start controlling more, there is no freedom, because now you're so stuck in your control list and it's adding to your to-do list, and there is no freedom or living in that. So the answer to me was not, okay, just let it all go, because that wasn't going to make me happy either. But it was, how do I live through all of this? Like, how do I live with all of this? And how do I selectively choose what I want to work on, enhance, fix, and still live my life and be happy? So it was, the first step is realizing and surrendering to, this is happening. This is where I am. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 20. I can't go back to being 20. I don't want to go back to being 20. So I don't need to look like a 20-year-old. That was step one. I don't need to look like a 20-year-old, but I also don't want to be gray. So, you make those choices and really taking almost a giggle at it and saying, okay, well, how do I live in this right now? How do I live in it? Not try to hide it, fix it, repair it, be controlled by it. That was step one.
So you got gut punched basically by your never ending to-do list of maintenance, from the lashes to the brows to, the body to all of the things.
The health things too. Yeah. Not just the way that appearance looks, like dealing with my back, just the list growing. Going to the dermatologist more, all of it. It just feels like you're just never ending, testing your blood, testing your hormones. It keeps growing. It keeps growing.
I think that's so true. I look at all of the things that I do for maintenance. Like when I look at my budget spreadsheet and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how much money would I have back if I were 28 years old?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so true. So you have a term that you've coined, that you kill fat for a living. And it came out of your world of fitness. But how relevant is that fat killing
Oh my gosh. It
as
is
it
everything.
relates to aging in reverse?
It is everything, Allyson. So fat to me, I always say I kill fat because I do. I kill fat on your body. That's something I've absolutely helped with. But more importantly, what I've killed with fat is what I call false assumed truths. So FAT is false assumed truths. And those are the things that we have believed that are false. They're things that friends tell us and friends validate. They're things that the doctors tell us. They're things that society and the media tell us. And we start to take them on and believe them. And when you have beliefs and thoughts, they become things. They become your reality. So when you're hearing from society, you're getting the message loud and clear, like you're too old and it's too late. You're seeing that. You're hearing doctors saying, oh, your metabolism slows down with age, or your hormones are creating this. You start taking that on. We start taking that on, and we stop trying. And I want to be really clear, because that is what happens. We stop trying. I've worked with countless women that I've walked through this with, where their doctor tells them one thing. Listen, it's your age. Your metabolism has slowed down. You're going to gain 30 pounds. That's what's going to happen. And then they gain 30 pounds. And as soon as we are working together and I'm having them step into the possibility that what their doctor told them is not true, that it doesn't have to be true. There's lots of women their age that actually lose weight, that they get fitter, they get healthier, that it's not too late. When they take that on and they believe that, they start changing their actions. So yes, of course, they dial in their nutrition, they change what they're taking in, they change their movement, all those things, but because first they believed that it was possible. So we had to kill off that false assumed truth that you're too old and it's too late, or what somebody told you first. False assumed truths are ruling our lives in so many areas, in finances, in relationships, in our body, in our health, in our appearance, everything. False assumed truths take over. We start believing these things, and those become thoughts and actions that are not serving us.
I love when you say that. And, when you teach about false assumed truths, I know for myself, I think about, I grew up in the South. I'm an African-American female, and once we hit our 40s, it means for us here that we're going to sit down, that we're going to start calling everybody baby, that we're going to spend majority of our time cooking in the kitchen, that inflammation is going to be a natural thing for us. And, well, you better get ready because the arthritis is going to set in, and that's what I've heard all of my life. And so I realized that I started to embrace what you call self-imposed stops for myself, and just kind of started slowing myself down.
Yeah.
What are other self-imposed stops that women in our 40s and in our 50s and beyond that we start to naturally bring in and invite because we think that's what we should do?
Great question. So first, I want to share what a self-imposed stop is. So false assumed truths are those beliefs that we hear and we're told. Self-imposed stops is when we're owning those beliefs and we're literally stopping ourselves from progressing forward because of those beliefs. So self-imposed stops are very real. And when I talk about them, a lot of times people get triggered. They're like, whoa, you're saying this is my fault. And I am. I am. And as harsh as that is, I need to say that because I'm not doing anybody favors by validating these false assumed truths. If I validate them, there's no chance of getting better. So by me pushing and having you step into the possibility that you might be holding a self-imposed stop, I am creating an opportunity for you to have a better chance, a better life. So I really stand firm in seeing people in their power and what's possible and getting them out of these self-imposed stops because they're critical. So where else are they coming up? I'll tell you big ones. Not just with the belief that they're too old and it's too late, but with the never-ending to-do list, the thing that they always have to be doing all these things, that they're busy all the time, busy. Big self-imposed stop. Another one is the never-ending feeling to people please, that you feel like you have to make everybody happy. That's a big one. You feel like you have to make everyone happy. You put others totally before you. Another one is absolutely this fear of judgment. Like you feel that you have to be a certain way because of how others are going to view you or how they're going to, take to you. Another self-imposed stop is believing that nothing works for you when it comes to like fitness and nutrition, believing that I'm different. I have an exception. My genetics are different. My procedure I had was different. Believing that's a self-imposed stop. I always go back to that example of Roger Bannister, who ran the 4-minute mile. It was told for years by scientists, by everyone, that it's not possible for a man to do that. It's not possible. And that became a false assumed truth. And a lot of people took that as a self-imposed stop. They never tried to run that. Well, he decided to do it and he busted through it. And since him, many people have followed and done that. It's a total example of a self-imposed stop. So things are not possible until you see someone else do it. And then you're like, oh, maybe it was possible. And that's when you realize, oh, I'm putting this on myself.
So I love that. So if I hear you correctly, what I hear you say is you're busting through the doors of how people perceive age, how women perceive age. And if you show the way, you believe this is like a movement of women who handle their experience and their expression through aging differently.
Yes. So I'm not standing for, I'm just going to age gracefully. I'm not standing for, I'm going to go fix it all with plastic surgery. There's a middle ground and either or is fine. However, I'm saying own your power at this age. Like we are not irrelevant. We are just getting started and this could be an amazing half of your life. This is a movement to get women to see this. We get to set that example. You know, I over and over again myself step into this. And I'm not saying it feels comfortable or easy, but I do it. You know, just yesterday, right before recording this, I did a photo shoot, a big photo shoot that I was asked to do for a fitness magazine. Now, I've moved out of being just a fitness person. That's not what I feel called to be in anymore, just being fitness, right? But I was like, to be a 48-year-old and have this opportunity to have this whole feature coming up on a magazine, to me, it was like, of course I'm going to do it because most women think it's not possible. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to step in and do it and show that. Now that's maybe an appearance and a physical fitness thing, but I'll tell you in a lot of ways I do this. Every year on my birthday, I do something crazy and outrageous and something that I never thought I would do just to kind of prove that point as well. I mean, I've jumped out of airplanes now. I've paraglided. I got a tattoo this last birthday. I just do something different every time. And so many women don't fully live because they're so scared of their to-do list and the people pleasing and the judgment and what might break and all the things and how they're going to look. And I'm saying, let's pave the way and show that we can have so much fun and be so confident this part of our life.
So what do you say to women who are listening and who are defending? Like if you just took the gloves off and you had your most fierce, unapologetic, like, you know, come to Jesus meeting, if you will, with women and said, listen, sister, what is your listen, sister statement?
Yeah. So listen, sister. And I some people may click off right now and that's fine because they'll come back knowing that I poked at something that you feel, and this is real. And what I want you to know is that your excuses are not going to fix the problem. They're not going to fix the problem. So you can have excuses. They can be very real. I'm not saying you didn't have that surgery or that diagnosis or that injury. I'm not saying you didn't have this happen in your life. What I'm saying is if we hide behind that and keep that as our excuse, it is not going to fix the problem ever. So why stay there? There's a bigger possibility for you, but you have to let go of that. You have to stop with the self-imposed stop and you have to step into what's possible.
Well, let's have a moment of silence for all of those that have left the podcast at this point. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about this community because you are making a bold claim. And the claim that you're making is that you will have the largest online community for women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond who are giving the middle finger to aging gracefully and are instead stepping into aging in reverse. What does this community stand for?
We stand for we are not too old and it is not too late. And we are ready to make the second half of our life the best half of our life. Like we are not going to hide behind excuses. We're not going to live in our false assumed truths and self-imposed stops. We are going to step into vision and possibility and we're going to decide it and we're going to declare it publicly because things, when we say them, they become reality. And that is why I declare this because that is a pattern that works. So you decide, and I want to help women do this. I want to help women decide what it is that they want, decide what they feel purpose and passion for, and declare it proudly so we can step into it and set that example.
Now, what if a woman's listening and she's going, I'm really inspired by you, Natalie Jill, but I don't know that I really need a community. I don't need other people. I
Yeah.
really like listening to you in my car and when I go on walks and when I'm private, but I don't know if I really want to invite others
Totally.
into my process. What do you say to that?
So what I want to say to that is a question. Does that work for you? And what I mean is, are you happy? Are you confident? Are you stepping into your purpose and your vision? Do you feel good about yourself? Are you feeling empowered at your age at this time in your life right now? If you are, and you're feeling amazing, great. Maybe you don't need it. If you're not, if something's missing there, then I want you to trust the process here and trust me, because community and connection and sharing, that fast forwards this aging in reverse process. If you think back to the most fun times you've had in life, when you really lost sense of time, when you were really laughing, belly laugh, having fun, thriving, likely there were other people with you. Likely you were in deep conversation. Maybe it was a first date. Maybe it was one of your girlfriends. Maybe it was a party where you're meeting new people. Maybe you were networking. If you really think back to that, you were with community, you were thriving in community. And there are study after study about people that live in community living and thriving longer. So yes, if it's working for you and you don't need or want that, I'm not going to force you in. However, if you're ready to level up and take on a new possibility, I want you to trust this. Now, I don't force you out, in front of millions of people. There's nothing like that. I'm not making people uncomfortable here. I'm inviting you into an accepting place where you feel empowered by other women.
Good. It sounds exciting. And I think that someone listening might go, okay, I'm kind of getting interested, but I don't understand how it works. I don't understand where to get started. I'm really not sold on why to say yes yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the 411?
Yeah. So you don't have to decide fully anything yet. You could decide to be open-minded, and you can decide to join us for a 10-day dive. And during a 10-day dive, we explore where false assumed truths might be holding you back in different areas of your life. And we do a 10-day deep dive on this, and it gives you an experience of the community, of me, of trying this on, of 10 days of your life, like literally 10 days. And I don't mean 10 days, 24 hours each day. I mean 10 minutes each day for 10 days. Like just trying this on with me and really going all in, like being fully committed to 10 days. And then you see for yourself if there's a shift, and there will be a shift. I'm pretty confident about it, but you try it on.
Now, most people are used to knowing you in health, in fitness, in nutrition. And so, it's like, I remember when Oprah decided she was going to retire from being in front of the camera every day at 4:00. And everybody thought, oh my God, what are you going to do? And when she came out and created OWN, everybody said, no, you're the queen of talk shows. You're not supposed to be doing anything other than being a talk show host. And they tried to keep her in that box. And so I can see so many people, not meaning to put you in a box, but wanting to say Natalie Jill is health, is fitness, and nutrition. What do you say to that? Because this sounds more like mindset and heart set. And, what do you say?
Oh, I have a lot of different answers, but the first thing I'm going to say is, are we all really just one thing or two things? Like there's expansion in our lives, and we should be growing as we're walking through things. So I'm not abandoning fitness and nutrition. That's very much a part of my life, and it'll be part of the community too. Like I'm not getting rid of my programs or removing myself from Google. Or taking my videos down. Like that's still made up who I am. It's still very much part of me. It's just not everything. And I do not feel I'm doing women, especially a favor or a service by sticking and just giving them fitness and nutrition. That's not fair to them. If I just give you fitness and nutrition, I am not setting you up for a thriving future. There is more to that. There is more to that. There is a method. It's a method that works. And this is not something that anyone has done with you before. This is different. This is an up level. And what do you have to lose? like really, what do you have to lose by adding this in and trying it on? Because worst case, you decide it's not for you and you go back to just aging miserably. I'm just kidding. No, or you just go back to what you're doing. This is not going to be a detriment to you. This is a leveling up for you. This is another thing to empower you and to help you.
Yeah, I love the way that the way that you shared that, because I think that so many women that are listening get the opportunity to kind of create a new moral to their story and really pick up that pen. And so, what is one last thing that you would say for women that are listening and having a secret dialogue with themselves of um, the necessity of who they are? Like, they've stopped looking in the mirror, they've stopped dreaming, stopped hoping, and they didn't mean to, but it's just happened, and they feel so distant from everything that you're saying, and you're like that last string, and they feel you pulling, but they're still kind of sitting in their zone of hiding.
So I'm not here to fix anyone, and I don't think anyone's broken. I want to be really clear about that. So this is not like, fine, take me, force it on me. Like, I don't have an interest in that with you, but I will share that you still have so much left in you. You're just getting started. Just think about that. What if that was possible? What if you really knew that the second half of your life was going to be the best part of your life? What would that feel like? Start with that question. What if? And stop your brain. Notice your brain will go to why that's not possible. It will tell you why. Oh, but Susan, this, but Jenny, this. It will tell you that. And I want you to sit quietly for a few moments and notice as those thoughts come, and just push them aside and dream as you would have as a kid for a moment, that what if it was possible? What does that feel like to you? Like, what if that was possible? Now, that might feel differently to different people. But I want you to sit with that for a moment. And I know deep down that you get what I'm saying here. And if you can embrace that and take it on, then join us for this 10-day dive. I mean, it's easy. It's 10 days. It's less than 10 minutes a day. And my gosh, it's so simple, easy, and fun for you. And all you do, it's so easy. Anyone can do this. You go to aginginreverse.me. That's it, aginginreverse.me, and do this 10-day dive with us.
Yeah, I think this is so meaningful. And I know when we started to have this conversation about you creating this community, you were so passionate and have stayed passionate about making sure that everything in it reflected exactly where women are. And how have you felt in the invention of something this powerful and really pioneering this movement? What does that feel like for you? I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's really me stepping into exactly what I teach and what I share, is that you can make a declaration and make it come to fruition. You don't need anyone else's approval. You don't need to worry about people judging you. You can declare and decide anything and make it come to fruition. So for me, I feel free again, the way I did when I created my original fat loss programs. I feel free because I'm walking through something that I found a solution for, and I'm empowering others to step into that. And that feels amazing.
And in your heart, what's your biggest hope for this community? I mean, it's going to become thousands that, expand across the globe. What's your biggest hope?
My biggest hope is that if I were to wave a magic wand and say, like, if this were just to completely transform society, that people would not consider 40s and 50s old anymore. Middle life wouldn't have a negative connotation around it. It would be amazing. Just the way we get excited to turn 21 so we can have that adult beverage, which is so funny thinking back to that, like how excited, gonna be 21, that women are looking forward to being 40s and 50s because of all of this.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. I've watched you through this process, and I've been a part of it in such an intimate way. And I'm so proud of you. I think that this is so beautiful and so reflective of where we are in society, that we get to pick up the pen and rewrite our destiny. I just love what you're doing and who you be for the world. This is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I can't wait. And I've loved working with you on this.
Thank you, Allyson, for interviewing me. I hope you all found that helpful and insightful. And I would love to see you, especially if you're a female in your 40s, 50s, and beyond, be part of this epic community and jump in and do the 10-day dive with me. And you can learn more about that at www.aginginreverse.me. aginginreverse.me. Once again, www.aginginreverse.me. Thanks for leveling up with us today. Please share this episode if you found it helpful so others can join in. And don't forget to hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on future shows. And if you would leave me a 5-star review, I appreciate those so much. I read all of them, and it's how I know that I'm giving you information that you find valuable. And come interact with me over on Instagram at Natalie Jill Fit. I read all the direct messages and comments over there. Make it a great day, creating everything from nothing.